morning, Internet. I missed you. Did you miss me? If this is your first time joining, I'm Audrey, and this is the Fire and Fiber podcast where I talk about my knitting, my thrifting. I tend to segue into conversations about my mental health or my ADHD and just kind of whatever comes across my brain. It is Saturday morning. I actually recorded this podcast yesterday, and due to a ton of technical issues, including not even having a working mic, I'm re-recording it today, Saturday morning, before I go to work. So I am coming to you from my home on the Haldimand Tract in what is now southwestern Ontario. For those of you who don't know, the Haldimand Tract was an agreement between the Crown and Six Nations in 1784, I believe. It was a land agreement for lands on 6 miles of either side of the Grand River. That would be indigenous territory. Obviously, this has never been fulfilled by the government in Canada or anywhere else, really, with a few minor exceptions. If you haven't picked up on it by now, I'm an Indigenous woman and a mother, and I'm very, very dedicated to social activism. That is also sprinkled into the podcast here if this is, again, your first time. Today, I am really excited. So I'm drinking, let me back this up. So it's Saturday morning. I have gotten up, gotten ready, and I haven't even had my first sip of coffee yet. I just took my Vyvanse, so we are 100% raw dogging this episode. This is full-blown Audrey ADHD. So buckle up. Just kidding. It's going to be fine. Everything is fine. I'm really excited about this mug. I thrifted it the other day, and then to my horror, I found it in the dishwasher this morning after having run a cycle, but it survived. So this is like, and I don't know if you can see it very well. This is an anthropology mug. It's got this really, really beautiful, I don't even know what it is. It's like embossed. So it's sort of like carved in. I'm not a pottery or ceramics person. If someone is, please correct me. Yeah, I was really excited about this. It was $1.99 and A for Audrey. I don't know what it is, but like the first sip of coffee in the morning slaps so hard. So good. I should also mention I'm a raging caffeine addict. Blame the ADHD. So I wanted to get into today's episode. I am going to be doing a few whip updates and then some finished objects. I'm going to do some finished objects, some whip updates. And then at the end, we are going to talk about the ranunculus. And spoiler alert, it's going to be a knit along. My cats are trying to get in here so badly. Hold on. You want to come in? Come on. You want to come in? Come on, Buzz. Come on. Come on. No? All right. Later days. So I guess I'll start with a few finished objects. If you watched a few videos ago, I did the door. Come in then. A few videos ago, I did a spring summer knitting plan, and I had talked about how many whips I had on the go and how much I wanted to finish them before starting another project. So that has been my focus for the last couple of weeks. I've also been trying really hard to stash bust as much as possible. I don't have a booger, it's eczema. With that in mind, the first finished object, and I'm not going to put it on, I did this yesterday on the podcast that I ended up not being able to use, and it ruined my hair. It didn't ruin my hair. It was just it was a lot. So I talked earlier about my cheeky checky beanie from Ocean Knits. The color's still not picking up. It's pulling more yellow, but this is like a true neon highlighter green and a true hot pink. So I did finish the top, and then I do still need to block it. So this is going to be like a triple brim. So you can see the knit rows. And then it's going to be folded up after. It kind of reminds me of like those like hipster tiny toques with tiny hats, like the little minis, or like it kind of reminds me of the Life Aquatic a little bit. I don't know why, I've never seen that. But anyways, that's that. Come here. Come here. You need attention? Go play. This is like my cat's witching hour, of course. The kids are mostly, well, one of the kids is asleep, one is awake, and the cats are insane. The next finished object I wanted to show, when I did my vacation knitting episode, I had knit 3 different single socks. So I have finished 1 pair, which I'm really excited about. These are my National Strawberry Day socks. They're knit with Area 50 and National Strawberry Day. I believe this is the squishy alien sock base. The cuffs, toes, and heels are knit with Regia 4-ply tweed in the color red. I had to wait to finish these because I decided to do ribbing on this set that I hadn't properly accounted for. And so I was short on my National Strawberry bit. So you can see My color patterning is my rows are perfect up until here. And then I did have to buy a mini skein and wait for it to arrive. I've never knit with Area 51 fibers before this pair. She's a local dyer in Calgary. I have a ton of her yarn. I've just never knit with it. And so when I was planning on my Mexico trip, I wanted to grab a bunch of stuff that I hadn't used before. Hello. So I'd never knit with this yarn before, but I wanted to use it, and it's so beautiful. It is really, like, it's a squishy. I haven't worn these yet, but I'm super excited to have finished those. And I have so much of her yarn. Like, it's hidden behind here, but I have so much. So super excited about that. Local Calgary dyer. The other cool thing is that the dyer, can't remember her name, the dyer uses like a vacuum seal. So she vacuum seals her yarn and then ships it letter mail, which I know some people like to track, like, will pay for shipping. I'm super cheap, and so I'll risk it for the biscuit. So I'm always excited when I get those deliveries. The next finished object is another one that, like the Cheeky Checky beanie, I hadn't woven in my ends and blocked, and I was just dragging my butt because I don't know why. So this is a modified Stephen West shawl that I made for my mom for her birthday, which nobody's counting, but it was back in July. So this was made out of 2 skeins of DK yarn from Songbird Fibers. We got the set at the Fergus Fiber Festival last year in April, and it was like it's the dark purple, like the variegated purple, and then the variegated green over here. I did also add in some of my own. I was trying to stash bust. So this green is stash busted. I don't even remember what it was. It didn't have a label. And this copper color is Koigu, I think a KPPM that I had bopping around, like a single probably. Anyways, like I said, it's a modified Stephen West shawl from the West Knits book that I have. I didn't do any of the bottom triangular scalloping because I didn't think my mom would care for that. And I did make it, I think, a bit shorter, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, this is that. So I finally wove in all my ends, blocked it, and it is ready to go. I also wasn't able to give it to her this week, so kind of serendipitous that I could include it today. This last finished object is probably the one I was most excited about. I actually tried it on for the first time post blocking yesterday on the podcast. I will insert footage. Okay, so it grew quite a bit with blocking, which was what I was hoping for. The only thing is, as you can see, I've got these little gaps at the end. I think that's from when I finished my yarn overs. I don't know how to fix that. So I need help with that. Can someone, I don't know what to do. However, this sweater in general, like, I am dead. This is the cutest freaking thing I've ever made in my entire life. I won at knitting. I have won. If it's a competition, I've won. So this is, holy cannoli, I'm so happy with it. Here, I wanted to try it on camera for the first time. I thought that was fun. However, I had tech issues yesterday, so I'm not going to try it on again. This is the Spring Sorrel pattern by Wool and Pine. And this, again, you can't really get the colorway very well. It is in this really beautiful, like, chartreuse. It's coming up mint, but it's not, I promise. From Fleur Ange Apparel, a local dyer. She's based in Sarnia. Her name is Madison. I had my eye on her yarn on my Etsy for a long time, this color specifically. And then when I realized her and I were in the same test knit group, I messaged her and was like, hey, can I order this yarn? And so she dyed a whole batch of it for me custom, which was incredible. This is 100% superwash. It's a DK weight. I don't have the base details with me, but it's so squishy and it's so decadent, but it still holds its shape really well. I did the math incorrectly. So when I'd ordered from her, I didn't order enough for sweater quantity, but I ordered too much for the t-shirt. So I do still have probably another Sorrel's worth left over. And I will finish weighing everything. Like, I still need to update my Ravelry project and include that, but I had quite a bit of the yarn left. I had just cracked into a new skein when I finished this. So, like, as you can see, I still have quite a bit left, but I'm so happy with this. My only thing is, and I think this is the way I must do it's me for sure. I have these little holes at the bottom of the dip stitch. I don't know what I did. I'm going to need to go in and probably stitch those up by hand. And they're on one side of the dip stitch. So it must be something I'm doing with, like, my yarn overs. I don't know. Anyways, I am incredibly happy with that project. Like, I can't even tell you. If we were in the middle of this disgusting heat wave with, like, an 80% chance of rain, I would actually be wearing it to work today, probably over top this dress, but you know, I'm going through menopause and I'm on SSRIs and Vyvanse. So I already have trouble regulating my heat or my temperature as it is. I'm a sweaty girl. I'm a sweaty plus size human. So that won't be happening, but I really wish it was. The next finished object, not finished, imagine, just broke my own heart. The next whip update I have is again my Come Back Again cardigan made in Spin Cycle Versus. So the pattern is the Come Back Again from andreamowry. My yarn is Spin Cycle Versus in the color Sweet and Sour. These are my sleeves. They were done last time, but I just wanted to show them again because I actually haven't made a whole ton of progress on the body of the cardigan. It's not as exciting. So this cardigan called for 3 inches of 1x1 ribbing on a 3.25 millimeter needle. And that was a lot. And the thing is that people don't realize, oh, hi, you want to come in? You want to come in and say hi? Come on. Do you want to be on YouTube? Can you say hi, Buzzy Boo? Can you say hi? I am, or not Buzz. This is Woody. I mixed up my own cats. Can you say hi, Woody? Say, I'm Sheriff Woody. There's a snake in my boot. Are you just not getting your love from your mama today? Oh, okay. I love you. Bye-bye. I love when the visitors stop by. So back to my andreamowry Come Back Again. It was calling for 3 inches of ribbing, but there's actually no rules when you're an adult and you can do whatever you want. So I did 2.75 inches before I very bravely gave up on that and moved to the body. I think I only have about 12 rows of the body pattern right now. Not too exciting. So I still have to do the body of the cardigan, the button band. I have to do a bit of construction around the V-neck and the neck. So I'm still quite a long ways away on that one, unfortunately. But it's beautiful. I'm really happy with how it's working out. So I had talked a couple weeks ago when I was talking about my spring knitting plans, or summer, pardon me. And I was talking about how I had worked on a framed sweater, again, andreamowry, and I was working on it. And then I realized after I'd finished the second half of the back panel, the shoulders, and the first 26 rows of the sleeve repeat, like chart repeat, that I was using the wrong size needles. So I yesterday sat and frogged out the sleeve. So yesterday I frogged the sleeve, and then I've done a mid project block. It's upstairs still drying. It's probably could grab it right now, but my husband's sleeping and I don't feel like it. Knowing full well that if I go upstairs, I'm going to wake up my other kid too. Anyways, so this is what I have to show for it. I wasn't the whole thing, but this is the Cascade Superwash Sport Wave. I don't know the color name. And this is my favorite, which is Estelle DK in this kind of mustardy brown. It's like a garam masala color to me. So I will be trying that on later, seeing if I could try on, see if the mid project block was enough to sort of figure out if the body's still the right size for me, or if I need to rip out the shoulder, like all the shoulders and the back half of the panel. I think there was probably only like a 0.5 millimeter size difference in my needles, but it might have made a difference. So we'll see. But it might still need to be frogged and redone again. So we will see. Now, in terms of, let's see, what do I want to do now? Oh, this is a little cute one. I don't know if you can see. I caved. The Instagram girlies influenced me. Actually, my coworker has one of these in the office too. I got one of these silly little Mastercraft pink mini toolboxes. I've seen them for a while. And they also come in a really cute, like pastel purple, like a lavender. I was really tempted to grab that one too. I got this last week. I'm thinking I'm going to like sticker it up with all my stickers and probably put like a bunch of my knitting tools and things like that in there. Or alternately, when I go to markets, I actually might leave this would be a good spot for my square reader and my float and all that. Not my square reader, it's a Shopify one, but still haven't decided what to do with it yet, but it's very cute. Oh, we've got another visitor. Hold on. Hello, sir. Did you want to come say hi? Come on. You want to come cuddle? No? Okay. I'm so popular today. I mentioned last episode that Charm City Unicorns is doing a pink along. It's a really cute knit, crochet, weave, so whatever, craft along basically. And I really wanted to join, but I was feeling really, really uninspired. So I wanted to do something that's sort of a palette cleanser project and something that again can stash bust because I do have a lot of yarn. So I started yesterday on the Hedgehog Fibers outline shawl because I have a ton of minis. So I've only done a little bit. And it's funny, the first color I used was this pink that I talked about. I showed a shirt a couple episodes ago that I had made with thrifted yarn. It was like a pink fade set that originally, when I bought it at Value Village, it had been made partially into a shawl, like a crochet triangular shawl. And then I guess the person stopped working on it, but all the yarn was wound up and caked. So I had no idea what it was. I just figured it was probably fingering away and it looked really beautiful. Definitely hand dyed. So I included a little bit of that on the bottom. And then this next color is a koigu color because a couple weeks ago at the Goodwill, I found this. So it doesn't look like much. So, but it's a Grevillea yarn pack kit from my work, from Gold House Yarn, where I work on the weekends. Even has like the little barcode. Someone had finished the project, woven up, wound all of their little remnants, including the tags, put it back in the bag and donated it. So whoever you were, I love you, because I love silly stuff like this. And it was $2.99. So that's all to say. I started working on this. Started in with a koigu. I can't remember the color, but like a KPPM. So I had gone back and forth for so long on Ravelry, trying to figure out like stash busting, mini scheme projects, advent project shop. And like, I just wanted something meditative and mindless. And the Hedgehog Fibers pattern is free. That was also a motivation. So I got that. So yeah, this is the outline by Beta. I can't remember her last name, but if you look up Hedgehog Fibers, the patterns are under there. This is a free pattern. You do have to, like, when you click on the free pattern download on Ravelry, it actually does take you to the Hedgehog Fibers website, and you do have to enter your email in order to download the pattern as a PDF. And then I imported it into my row counting app, just so you're aware. Like I'm someone who downloads free patterns on Ravelry a lot, but I do like to be aware when it takes me to an external website. So if that's an issue for you, now you know. So yeah, that I thought would be like a really good palette cleanser because I have like not only Grevillea pack, but I have stuff like this. I was getting the row one yarn, like a little subscription for a while. Obviously I'm not right now because I have too much yarn and tariffs and order stuff, but this was really fun for a while. I was using it to make like the little mitered squares that I've been working on. And I still will be. But I just have so many of these cute little minis, and I think they're like little 10-gram bundles. And typically, what's cool about this is that each month was a pack of minis, like tiny, tiny 10-gram minis from a dyer. So this one was from Homestead Fibers in the color Sid, for example. And then, yeah, you get this cute little pack, a little stitch marker, adorable. I'm trying to be a little bit more economical. And obviously, with the stuff going on with our friends down south, I'm not ordering anything from the States if I can avoid it, especially when it has to cross the border, get held up at customs, for tariffs, etc. Okay, so the final thing is we are going, and by we, I mean me and you, all of my close personal friends, we're going to be doing a knit along for the ranunculus. I have, full disclosure, I've never done a knit along. I have done a bit of research and I honestly still don't have like a super solid concrete idea or structure. However, I thought it'd be really fun. There were quite a few people who were asking me or saying like, this will be really fun to do as a knit along. And part of why I love knitting is I love the community aspect. I love sharing my projects. I love seeing people's updates. I love encouraging. I love doing any of the troubleshooting. It's part of why I like working at my local yarn store too. So we are going to do a ranunculus knit along. It's going to be running from August 1st to September 19th, which is about 6 weeks. I don't know if everyone's as fast a knitter as I am. I don't know if I'm actually a quick knitter or I just like hyper focus, laser focus on things. But as we go along, if that's not enough time, we'll talk about it and figure it out. But I'm going to be trying my darndest to figure out how to create a Ravelry group, like a little group page specifically for this knit along, and then posting the information. This is completely free. There's no cost fee. I'm still trying to figure out an incentive for folks who join and contribute. I know a lot of knit-alongs by designers have an incentive, whether it's like discount code for yarn, prizes, things like that. I am still super new at this. I don't really know how to do that. And again, with being in Canada in the middle of a trade war, I don't know what it would look like to potentially send a physical prize across the border if someone won that. Like, I wouldn't want anyone to incur tariffs or taxes. I wouldn't want to have to pay taxes and tariffs. So I'm still trying to figure out what some sort of incentive look like, or prize or giveaway. I don't know. It's not really structured. I just want to have fun and meet people. That's 99% of why I do YouTube, is just to connect with knitters, because they're not, like, I have a really great group at in my knitting group, but I want to meet more of you. And yeah, so I'm hoping that we can connect. That's what's great about the internet, right? Connecting online and being in community with each other and just encouraging each other. It's the best. So that is that. I will be creating the group and posting the information down in the description box of this afterwards. Whenever I get to editing, I do have to work soon. But I think that's all I have for today. I don't really have a ton, even though I've been like really hyper focused on finishing projects. I'm kind of struggling like mentally. Okay, we're going to segue into mental health quick. So I did ketamine infusion therapy last year and this year. It's been about a year and a half. And I was going to a clinic about an hour and a half away. I'm going to start going to a clinic in the same region that I'm in, very close by. And it's a bit of a different modality. It's like a guided psychotherapy component afterwards, whereas I was just doing infusions and then going home and going to bed, which is still fantastic. I had incredible results from it. So I'm going for my first infusion and counseling, or my first infusion and guided therapy session after on Wednesday. And I'm feeling really optimistic about that because between my mental health, menopause, work stress, life stress, August is like looming in the distance. For me, August is the month that I lost both my dad and my stepdad. And even if I don't remember, my body keeps the score and absolutely knows that this is a hard time for me. So I'm really hoping that that will sort of help me get a little bit more clarity and focus, because I've been really, really scattered lately and I just feel like an exposed nerve. Like I feel like a live wire all the time is what I've been saying, or like like a raw nerve. Like I feel just like so many feelings and trying to, work through those feelings and not live in them, not let them control me, but also not ignore them either. So that's all to say. Hopefully next time I'm on here, I will be a little bit more organized, collected, happy, whatever. This isn't a mental health podcast, but it kind of is. If you're struggling, please get help. There are so many resources available. If you don't know who to turn to, message me. I can recommend something. There's always something, because you don't have to suffer. I didn't start doing ketamine infusion therapy until I was 34, after being in like a 2.5 year depressive episode. And wow, I remember being sad for myself after the first time. I was sad for myself because I didn't know that living that way was possible. Like feeling good and not feeling the way I'd felt for as long as I can remember. I didn't know that was possible, and I felt kind of ripped off. So that's all to say, you don't need to suffer. You're not alone. I'm not a licensed anything, but if you need help, reach out. That got really dark. So anyways, I also wanted to shout out, there was another podcaster, I can't remember who, I think it was someone who mentioned me, had given a land acknowledgement at the beginning of their podcast. I'll link her information in here. Elsa. I'm horrible with names. So I just wanted to point out how freaking cool that was. Like, I am an Indigenous person. I work in the field of Indigenous health. I have a real issue with land acknowledgements because they very quickly have become very tokenized, very generic, very robotic, and they really have lacked authenticity very quickly. Organizations have just adopted them. Everyone's slapped it on the bottom of their email signature. No one really knows what they mean. However, I saw a podcast recently where someone did a land acknowledgement at the beginning, a non-Indigenous person, because if you don't know, I'm telling you right now, you cannot ask Indigenous people to give a land acknowledgement. The whole point of a land acknowledgement is for people who have not been here since time immemorial to acknowledge that they're living on stolen. Anyways, sidebar. So I just wanted to say, Canadian, North American podcasters, it's being done. And if you're like, my knitting podcast isn't really an appropriate place to do a land acknowledgement, it absolutely is. So throwing that out there, that's one small way that like settlers can show up as allies. That's very, very small example of allyship. And I super appreciated it. So anyways, if we're not friends on Ravelry, Instagram, anything like that, please add me on Ravelry. I'm at Audrey Hill. On Instagram, I'm at Fire and Fiber Makes. I'm Audrey from Fire and Fiber. Happy knitting and stay safe.